is a new deal.
The job is I installed for this job will not give us...
Asshole, I drive!
Frank Martin, a former Special Forces operative, now operates as a highly skilled transporter, delivering packages without questions asked, adhering to strict rules. When a routine job goes awry and he discovers a bound woman in his trunk, he's drawn into a dangerous world of human trafficking, international crime, and explosive action, forcing him to break his own rigid code to save lives and confront the sinister forces behind the operation.
What the...
You are the one who...
About a girl who came into my nice, quiet... Calm down, okay? Put it on. I'm not a...
You left her?
You know nothing. You got involved with the wrong girl. Maybe she'll see the light.
Yeah, if she's lucky, maybe you'll get... She'll never be you or anything like you.
Turn around!
I'd rather...
Hey guys, today we're diving headfirst into the high-octane, rule-breaking world of The Transporter from 2002, a film that pretty much solidified Jason Statham's place as the ultimate stoic, butt-kicking action hero. Get ready for slick car chases, impossibly cool fight choreography, and enough explosions to make a fireworks factory blush. We're going to break down every punch, every pivot, and every perfectly tailored suit moment that makes this movie a true gem. If you liked this sneak peek, hit the like button and subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel and let me know you want more. Our story kicks off not with a gentle morning latte, but with a roaring engine and a frantic bank robbery. We're in a sleek black BMW 735i, a car that practically screams "I mean business," as Frank Martin, our titular transporter, waits coolly by a bank. Inside, a quartet of heavily armed thieves are doing their thing, creating all sorts of commotion, the distant sounds of shouting and the muffled pops of gunfire drifting through the otherwise serene morning air. Frank isn't just a getaway driver, he's the getaway driver, a man of precise timing and even more precise rules. Rule number 1, once the deal is made, it's made. Rule number 2, no names. Rule number 3, never open the package. These aren't just suggestions, they are the bedrock of his existence. He's dressed impeccably, a crisp suit, a tie that's probably worth more than my entire wardrobe, and a watch that ticks with an almost threatening authority. The robbers burst out, all adrenaline and heavy breathing, tossing their duffel bags into the trunk. But there's a problem. They've brought 5 men for a 4-man job. Oh, classic rookie mistake, right? Frank, with a calm that borders on unsettling, points this out. The lead robber, a big, sweaty guy with the fashion sense of a discarded potato sack, argues, trying to push the 5th guy in. Frank refuses, flatly stating, "I had 4, not 5. The tension in the air is thick enough to cut with a butter knife. The robber, getting desperate as police sirens begin their distant wail, pulls a gun. Now most people would buckle, not Frank. He simply states with a chillingly calm voice that if the 5th guy gets in, no one goes anywhere. It's a masterclass in quiet authority, and it works. The 5th man is left behind, his desperate pleas quickly drowned out by the escalating sirens and the peal of tires as Frank executes a perfect, smoking burnout.
The chase is on, and it's glorious. The BMW zips through the tight, winding streets of the south of France, weaving through traffic with an almost ballet precision. Police cars, with their flashing lights and blaring sirens, are left eating his dust, crashing and tumbling in spectacular fashion. Frank navigates hairpin turns, uses narrow alleyways as shortcuts, and performs stunts that would make lesser drivers weep. It's a symphony of controlled chaos, the roar of the engine a constant companion to the screech of tires and the distant smash of metal as the cops try and fail to keep up. He even manages to get caught in a dead end, only to execute a daring multi-point turn that leaves the pursuing officers scratching their heads. The whole sequence is a phenomenal introduction to Frank's capabilities, showcasing his driving prowess and his ice-cold nerves. After a thrilling escape, he delivers his passengers, not to a 5-star resort, but to a waiting boat. He takes his payment, no questions asked, his transaction complete. Just another day at the office for Frank Martin. He returns to his beautifully isolated villa by the sea, a picture of tranquil luxury, a stark contrast to the mayhem he just navigated. Life for Frank isn't all bank jobs and high-speed pursuits. He has a routine. He washes his prized BMW with meticulous care, the water beating off the sleek black paint like liquid pearls. He eats breakfast, his movements precise and economical. He even has a friendly, if slightly intrusive, relationship with Inspector Tarconi, a local detective who occasionally drops by Frank's villa, feigning a visit to check on him, but clearly just trying to figure out what Frank actually does. Tarconi, played by Francois Berliand, with a wonderful mix of geniality and sharp observation, offers Frank a plate of peaches, a small, domestic touch that humanizes Frank, even if he doesn't quite accept the fruit. Their conversations are always polite, always circling around Frank's mysterious lifestyle, but never quite breaking through his carefully constructed facade. One day, Frank gets a new job, a package delivery for a shady American businessman known as Wall Street. The destination is Marseille, a city of vibrant chaos and shadowed corners. Frank picks up the package, 3 large duffel bags, but as he's about to leave, Wall Street, with a slightly too casual demeanor, throws in an extra package, a 4th bag, explaining that the contents of one of the others didn't fit. This immediately sets off Frank's internal alarm bells. It violates rule number 1. Once the deal is made, it's made. The number of packages was agreed upon. This extra, unquantified item smells fishy. He hesitates, but Wall Street is insistent, charmingly menacing. Frank, ever the professional, takes the bag, but a subtle shift has occurred. The pristine order of his world has been slightly, almost imperceptibly, disturbed.
During a stop on the drive, Frank's car gets a flat tire. As he's changing it, he notices the 4th bag, the extra one, is moving. Not just shifting, but kicking. A muffled groan escapes from within. This is a massive violation of rule number 3. Never open the package. But human instinct, or perhaps a flicker of something deeper, overrides his professional code. With a sense of trepidation and a growing knot of suspicion, Frank unzips the bag. Inside, curled up, bound and gagged, is a young Chinese woman. Her eyes, wide with fear and desperation, meet his. This is Lai. The sight of her, a living, breathing person, not an inanimate object, shatters Frank's carefully constructed world. This isn't just a package, it's a human being. The quiet hum of his precise routine suddenly grinds to a halt. He can't just deliver her. He unties her, offering her a juice box, a strangely domestic gesture in such a dire situation. He also gives her an apple, which she eyeballs suspiciously, probably wondering if it's poisoned. It's a moment of dark humor amidst the growing tension. When Frank arrives at the drop-off point, Wall Street is there, along with some of his heavily armed goons. They're clearly expecting something more than just bags of cash or documents. Frank delivers the 3 original bags, but keeps the 4th, the one with Lai, hidden. Wall Street, with a smug grin, demands the extra package. Frank, maintaining a stone-cold facade, denies its existence. A terse standoff ensues. Wall Street knows. Frank knows he knows. The air crackles with unspoken threats. Wall Street, frustrated but unwilling to press the issue too far in public, lets Frank go. But he makes it clear, with a chilling smile, that he knows where Frank lives. Frank returns to his villa, now with an unexpected guest. Lai, despite being rescued, is far from trusting. She's a whirlwind of suspicion and fear, and quite frankly, a total pain in the neck. She wanders around Frank's pristine home, making a mess, trying to escape, and generally disrupting his perfectly ordered life. He tries to get information from her, but she's tight-lipped, only offering fragmented details about people and containers. He makes her a meal, another surprisingly human touch, but she uses the opportunity to try and stab him with a fork. Talk about gratitude. Frank, with lightning-fast reflexes, disarms her, showing her he's not someone to be trifled with, even if he did save her from a duffel bag. It's a quick, sharp reminder of his dangerous capabilities, executed with effortless precision.
Later, Wall Street's men attack Frank's villa. This isn't a subtle break-in, it's a full-on assault. Rockets scream through the air, ripping apart his beautiful home with deafening explosions and shattering glass. Frank, ever resourceful, immediately goes into combat mode, moving Lai to safety before engaging the intruders. The ensuing fight sequence is absolutely iconic. Frank uses everything at his disposal. Kitchen utensils become deadly weapons, a bus on a hill becomes a strategic advantage, and oil from a blown-up truck becomes a makeshift slip and slide of death. He's a whirlwind of punches, kicks, and improvised weaponry. The crack of bone on bone, the metallic tang of gunfire, and the whoosh of flying bodies fill the air. He even manages to pull off a move where he uses his own shirt, slick with oil, to disarm and incapacitate multiple attackers. It's ridiculous, it's brilliant, and it's pure transporter mayhem. It also shows a surprising level of tactical ingenuity, turning his environment into a weapon. After the villa is reduced to a smoldering ruin, Frank and Lai are forced to flee. They go on the run, seeking refuge in a remote, abandoned cabin. During this time, a fragile bond begins to form between them. Lai, realizing Frank genuinely wants to help her, starts to open up. She reveals that Wall Street is involved in human trafficking, bringing in illegal immigrants from China in large shipping containers, and that her father, a high-ranking official, is also caught up in this scheme, or at least that's what Wall Street wants Frank to believe. The containers she mentioned earlier are full of people, not just drugs or contraband. The revelation adds a horrifying moral weight to Frank's mission. He's no longer just a driver who broke his rules, he's a potential savior. Meanwhile, Inspector Charconi is sniffing around the ruins of Frank's villa. The sheer scale of the destruction, the professional execution of the attack, and the lack of traditional criminal evidence tell him this isn't just a simple dispute. He finds a piece of evidence, a bullet casing, that leads him to believe there's a much larger, more dangerous game afoot. He suspects Frank is involved, but not as the perpetrator. Charconi's investigation provides a parallel narrative, slowly piecing together the larger puzzle, showcasing his own sharp deductive skills.
Frank and Lai devise a plan. They need to find Wall Street, rescue the people in the containers, and expose the entire operation. Frank, relying on his network of contacts and his own keen observational skills, begins to track Wall Street's movements. They discover that the operation is centered around the docks in Marseille, a labyrinth of shipping containers and shadowy warehouses. It's a perfect cover for illegal activities, with ships constantly coming and going, providing a continuous flow of illicit cargo and, tragically, human lives. Lai reveals more details about her father, explaining that he's being blackmailed by Wall Street to facilitate the trafficking. This complicates matters, making it clear that the stakes are even higher than Frank initially imagined. Frank, with Lai's help, infiltrates Wall Street's headquarters, a sophisticated operation disguised as a legitimate import-export business. The atmosphere is tense, filled with hushed conversations and the subtle menace of armed guards. Frank's goal is to gather intelligence, to understand the full scope of Wall Street's operation, and to pinpoint the location of the containers. He uses his stealth and combat skills to navigate the heavily guarded facility, moving like a shadow, the subtle creak of his shoes on the polished floor the only sound in the otherwise silent corridors. He discovers vital documents, shipping manifests, and communication logs that confirm Lai's story. A massive human trafficking ring, with her father unwittingly caught in the crosshairs. One of the more memorable action sequences involves Frank getting into a skirmish inside a bus. It's a cramped, confined space, and Frank, ever the improviser, uses the bus itself as a weapon. He slams doors, uses handrails, and even the inertia of the moving vehicle to his advantage, turning the ordinary interior of a public transport vehicle into a deadly arena. The clang of metal, the grunt of effort, and the sharp crack of a successful strike are amplified in the enclosed space. It's a claustrophobic fight, showcasing his ability to adapt his fighting style to any environment, something that sets him apart from your average action hero who might just rely on brute force. As they get closer to exposing Wall Street, the stakes escalate. Wall Street, realizing Frank is a persistent threat, increases his security and tightens his grip on the operation. He's a ruthless businessman, seeing people as nothing more than cargo, a means to an end. His cold, calculating demeanor is genuinely unsettling. He's not a hulking brute, he's a cunning manipulator, which makes him all the more dangerous. He delights in taunting Frank, believing he has the upper hand, that Frank is just a hired gun who will eventually give up. But he underestimates Frank's newfound moral compass and his commitment to protecting Lai.
The climax of the film takes place at the docks, a sprawling industrial landscape dominated by towering cranes and stacks of shipping containers that stretch towards the sky like a metal city. This is where the last batch of containers, filled with desperate people, is scheduled to be shipped out. Frank and Lai arrive, ready to stop the operation. The scale of the environment itself becomes a character, with its vastness and the constant hum of machinery, creating a sense of urgency and danger. Frank confronts Wall Street and his army of thugs. The final showdown is a multi-layered action extravaganza. There's a frantic car chase through the container yard, with Frank expertly maneuvering his vehicle, dodging bullets, and weaving through narrow gaps. The screech of tires and the groan of metal as containers are scraped and dented create a chaotic symphony. He uses the heavy machinery around him, like massive forklifts and cranes, to his advantage, smashing through obstacles and creating diversions. It's like a real-life game of Tetris, but with much higher stakes and more explosions.
The fight eventually moves onto a moving train, where Frank faces off against Wall Street's top enforcer, a formidable fighter who matches Frank's skills blow for blow. The rhythm of the train, the metallic rumble of its wheels on the tracks, adds a relentless pulse to the fight. Every punch, every block, every kick is punctuated by the swaying of the carriages and the whistling wind. It's a brutal, close-quarters combat sequence, with both men using the confined space and the momentum of the train to their advantage. Frank eventually defeats the enforcer, but not without a significant struggle. The sounds of their labored breathing and the impact of their bodies against the train walls, testament to the ferocity of the battle. But the most iconic, and frankly, most absurdly brilliant fight sequence happens later, on the wing of a moving cargo plane. Yes, a plane. Wall Street is attempting to escape with Lai's father and the remaining evidence of his operation. Frank somehow manages to board the plane and confronts Wall Street on the wing. It's a fight against gravity, against the wind, and against Wall Street's desperation. Frank uses his martial arts skills, honed through years of training, to incapacitate Wall Street's remaining henchmen. The dull thud of bodies hitting the plane's exterior, followed by the whoosh of them disappearing into the sky below. The wind whips around them, a deafening roar, making communication almost impossible. Frank has to move with incredible precision, every step a risk, every punch a gamble against being swept off into the vast emptiness below.
He finally confronts Wall Street, who, in a last desperate attempt to escape, tries to push Lai's father out of the plane. Frank, with a final, powerful kick, sends Wall Street plummeting to his doom, a surprisingly satisfying end to the calculating villain. The roar of the jet engines and the rush of wind are a constant, overwhelming sensory experience during this entire sequence, truly making you feel the incredible danger. It's a truly over-the-top classic action movie climax, a perfect blend of impossible stunts and genuine thrills. You can almost hear the audience collectively thinking, did that just happen? With Wall Street neutralized, Frank secures Lai's father and stops the plane. He then helps Lai to free the people from the containers, who are still trapped, suffocating, and desperate for air. It's a moment of immense relief, the sound of their ragged breaths and the cries of gratitude a stark contrast to the explosions and gunfire that preceded it. Frank's actions have saved countless lives, effectively dismantling a vast criminal enterprise. He has gone from a man defined by his rigid rules to a hero who broke them for the greater good. It's a powerful arc for a character who started out so seemingly detached. The immediate aftermath sees Frank, Lai, and her father dealing with the consequences. Lai's father is apprehended by the authorities, his involvement in the trafficking, even if coerced, leading to his arrest. Lai, however, is free. Her fate is left somewhat open-ended, but she has a chance at a new life, thanks to Frank. She has found an unlikely ally, a protector, and perhaps even a friend in the stoic transporter. The journey has changed her too, from a terrified victim to a survivor with newfound resilience. As for Frank, he walks away from the chaos, his job done, his new moral compass firmly in place. His villain may be destroyed, but he has found something more valuable, a purpose beyond mere transactions. Inspector Tarconi, ever the astute observer, arrives on the scene, seeing the full extent of the operation and Frank's involvement. He knows Frank isn't a typical criminal. He's a man who operates outside the law, but in this case, for justice. Tarconi and Frank share a knowing look, a silent acknowledgement of the events that transpired. Tarconi understands that sometimes the lines between good and bad are blurry, and that sometimes a little rule-breaking is exactly what's needed. He lets Frank go, a quiet gesture of respect and understanding.
The movie concludes with Frank back in his element, but perhaps a slightly changed man. He's seen the dark underbelly of the world, and he's actively intervened. He's seen driving away, his face etched with the experiences, ready for whatever the next package might bring, but perhaps now with a greater willingness to peek inside the box. The roar of his engine fades into the distance, leaving the audience to ponder the new rules of his game. The final scene leaves a sense of open possibility that Frank Martin will continue his dangerous work, but now with a slightly different code, a code influenced by his time with Lai and the horrors he witnessed. It's a quiet but significant transformation for a character who initially seemed so unyielding. The sound of his engine, once a symbol of his detachment, now hints at a journey of evolving purpose. This film, at its core, is a wild ride about a man who thought he had all the answers, only to realize that some rules are meant to be broken. It's about finding your humanity in the most unexpected places and facing down genuine evil with nothing but your wits, your skills, and a whole lot of perfectly timed roundhouse kicks. Frank Martin's journey from detached professional to reluctant hero is punctuated by incredible stunts, the kind that make you gasp and cheer.
Every car chase is a masterclass in vehicular choreography, every fight scene a ballet of destruction. The script perfectly balances the gritty reality of human trafficking with the exhilarating absurdity of its action sequences, creating a truly unique and memorable cinematic experience. The sound design alone deserves an award for the sheer impact it adds to every crunch, every explosion, and every rev of the engine. It's a film that knows exactly what it wants to be and delivers it with panache. It's inspiring to witness a character like Frank, initially so rigid and self-contained, slowly unfurl his moral compass in the face of true injustice. His journey reminds us that even the most meticulously constructed personal boundaries can and sometimes should be challenged when human lives are at stake. This film beautifully explores the idea that true strength isn't just in upholding your personal code, but in knowing when to bend it for a cause greater than oneself, finding purpose not in detachment, but in courageous intervention. The Transporter is pure, unadulterated action cinema at its best. It delivers on every front, from the incredible car stunts and hand-to-hand combat to a surprisingly engaging story about a man finding his moral center. It's a stylish, fast-paced thrill ride that cemented Jason Statham's place as an action icon. What's your favorite Frank Martin rule?